everyone. Good to have you for the workshop. It's going to be a workshop. Don't think you're going to be sitting here and listening to me. It's going to be a workshop. My name is Lara. I'm the leader of the customer success team for CleverTap in Europe. And I brought Dimi with me.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining. My name is Dimi. I'm the account executive for the territories of DACH and Benelux for CleverTap. Thank you.
All right, let's dive right in. So what we want to do with you today, when I'm sitting in front of it, sit here. We want to show you personalization. What we're going to do is, so we've created a framework that we want to present to you today that should help you to raise up engagement with the users by using personalization. So that's what we want to do today. I said it's going to be a workshop, so I really want to focus on interactivity. Hyper-personalization, it's a buzzword, right? I guess every one of you knows it. Who thinks they're doing hyper-personalization? Can I see some hands? I see some hesitant raises there. Okay. So I think you come to the right workshop here. Hyperization is hard. It's not easy. We're not going to get there in the next 40 minutes. But what I want to do is to give you some hints, some steps of how we think based on our analysis of how we can get there. That's the aim for today. That is the framework. So as I said, we're CleverTap. We're sending our platform, sending out millions, billions of messages every day from our customers to their end users. And what we did is we analyzed those messages to see, okay, is there some kind of pattern we can see, some categorization we can see in terms of what makes a good message, in terms of, okay, what is a message that has a high impact on revenue? In the end, it all goes back to revenue, right? So we've looked into how do companies personalize and what are the categories that we can identify that is taken step by step to bring in more revenue impact. So that is the personalization ladder, as we call it, consisting of 4 steps, and that's where I want to take you through today. In the next 40 minutes, we're basically going to go through 3 steps. The 4th step is your homework. So as I said, we're not going to get to hyper-personalization in the next 40 minutes. We're going to try to build the basis to do so. So first, what we'll do is getting organized with user definition. So understanding, okay, what are user stages and how can we define them, those milestones. It's also about alignment across company. So I guess we've got some CRM guys here, maybe some growth, maybe there's also some product, some user acquisition. So it's also about aligning. So how can we do that? Then we talk about personalization from bottom to top. And then the 4 steps for you to think about, okay, like how can you take those strategies, those ideas to your companies, to your apps. All right.
So, because we want to make this an interactive session and make it a workshop, I would ask you to create groups. I think I have to count you. We can have groups of 5, I think. And in order to help you out, I will count the first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is in one team. So maybe groups of 10. Would it make more sense?
That's going to be the. So if we say you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think every lane can be a group.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lady on the laptop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And the same.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lady with a phone. 5. There we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3. All right, group 4 and 5 are going to be a bit less. Let's try to arrange. Group 1, let's assemble here. Group 2, let's meet up over here. Group 3, let's meet here in the back. And that is group 4 and 5 here this time. All right. Okay, group number one. Group number one. Group number two. Good. Group number three. Call each other. Let's Alright. Group number four. Alright. Okay. Group number five. Good. If you want to sit down, I'm going to take 40 minutes. So sit down. It's a good time in here. You can be going. That's good. Okay. As long as you know who your group is, what number you are, you should be good.
Everybody knows their team?
Good. Then we can get started.
So, now that we're all settled with our teammates, it's time for the second part of the exercise, which is to find two random words. I want you to think, every team to think two random words. Those words shouldn't be related to mobile marketing, CRM, anything you do in your business life. I want it to be completely random to make this exercise as effective as possible. And to give you a bit of time to think the second word, I will start with the first, and it's going to be, you're going to shoot the first word to me as a team number one. Give me a random word.
I like it. Cheese.
Team number two.
Vacation.
Vacation. Team number three. Please remember the word, by the way. Team number three.
Wine.
Wine. Number four.
Beer, all right.
And team number five. Lobster. Vacation.
Everyone's ready for lunch, huh?
Vacation, wine, cheese, and lobster. I like my another series, very classy. So now for the second word. Team number one. Second word. Palm. Team number two.
So we've got, wait, we just do vacation and palm. All right.
Thematic. One thing.
Palm tree, yeah.
Palm. Team, you have a vacation team number two. Second word. Flower.
So what are your two words? Vacation and flower. So you didn't have vacation, what was it?
Cheese.
Cheese.
And
Cheese, palm tree, vacation and flower.
Team number three, sorry.
Happy.
Happy, so it is wine and happy.
Also thematic. Team number four.
Okay. So we've got the happy wine, the sad beer, and what are you going to do with your lobsters? Sports cars. Okay, all right. Very good. So let's try to remember it.
Try to remember it, and now to make it a bit more difficult, team number one will give the words to team number two, team number two to team number three, team number three to team number four, team number five to team number one.
All right.
So we have lobster and a sports car, for example.
Lobster sports car. Then you gotta have
Palm trees and cheese.
Cheese palm tree. Vacation and flower. Then you gotta be the happy wine and the sad beer. All right, everyone's good. Everyone knows their two words.
That's great. I love the words, by the way, because now what you need to do is to create an app using those two words. Not in the name of the app, but about what the app does. So you must connect cheese and palm trees, wine and happiness, I don't know, beer and sadness, lobsters and sports cars. Create an app. I have 2.5 minutes to create the app.
2.5 minutes. We got your app. Okay, all right. I hope you all have your apps. Let's listen in. Group number one, what were your two words?
Lobster and sports car. What is your app?
So we had lobster and sports car, and so what we wanted to create was kind of a luxury experiences app, where in the onboarding process people could choose kind of different experiences that they wanted, or different activities that they wanted to do in kind of a luxury way, and then we do kind of plan everything using partners all inclusively.
All right. So not only have you created an app, you already got an onboarding and a partner system. Look at that. It's amazing. Number two.
Team number two was going to be the product owner.
What were your two words? Just to recap.
Hi, our two words were palm trees and cheese.
And what a great combination for an app, you would say. So we decided we're gonna be LA founders because we all have a lot of palm trees there, and we have a collaboration with the Louvre, and we are creating an exhibition guide for an exhibition where you can see palm trees which are made out of cheese. Different kinds of cheese. We have creamy cheese, you have cheese with holes, without holes, hard cheese. Very interesting. And with our app, it's a guide for that expedition. So it explains you what palm tree you're in front of and what kind of cheese it's made from.
Nice. Cheese trees. Christmas is coming. It might be your high season. Okay, group number 3, what were you towards?
Who's going to take a microphone? Wait.
Hi, so our 2 words were vacation and flower, and our app is going to enable you to make a picture of a flower that can actually tell you if it's poisonous or not. So when you're on vacation and you see an exotic flower, and yeah, potentially you could also have a panic button. So get me out of here, and then you can book a trip to somewhere else because maybe the flower is poisonous and you don't want to taste it.
Nice, love it. So there's some security going on. I love it.
Team number 4, ready? Who's going to take the mic?
So our 2 words were happy wine. How convenient. And then we decided to go with a very creative direction of it and make an app in order to match a therapy sessions in which you can drink wine through the therapy session. We will recommend you.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, very much needed. And then we will recommend you what kind of wine you can drink with different therapists, and you would for sure be happy at the end. The business model is already there, affiliation with therapists. I mean, what else do we need?
There we go. Love it. Great. And I guess your biggest competitors will be the sweat beers. What's going to happen to you?
So we figured out what makes you a sad beer drinker is if you're too drunk, and being a little bit drunk is cool, but being too drunk is not cool. So our app helps you to figure out what's the perfect amount of beer for you to be just the right way of drunk. So you type in your body stats and so on, and like weight, and you also track your consume of beer, because it might be very individual. And so it suggests how much beer you should drink, and of course also beer brands can place ads there and so on.
All right, good. Made in Germany, I guess, right? There we go. All right, perfect.
Congrats, you have apps, all of you. Interesting apps. Some of them, I don't know how you're going to monetize.
Yeah.
Some of them, I don't know
So
how
if
you're
it
going to
doesn't
get
work
permission.
out with ATS, you've got to be an idea. Good.
Maybe the whole organization doesn't like some apps of here, but I don't know. And so right now, I'll need you to think on how will you engage with your users.
Yes. So you've got your app, you've got your company. Now let's get into it. Let's engage with your users. Going back to, giving you a bit of theory, right? I also need to do that. Going back to the personalization ladder, let's climb step number 1. So the baseline, and this is really about we need to first of all set the base here. It's about, we've got a whole user base. Let's start to segment them on a very basic level using demographics. So we could segment them by gender, by age, by localization, whatever it is, to just have very basic groups of them. In terms of how do we engage with them, I think it all starts with scheduled messages. So it could be a promotion is going on, Christmas is coming, so maybe Glühwein is the next thing, or the Christmas Christmas tree. So that might be a way to special date you want to reach out to. What I see with most customers is they have something like an event calendar. So there's special moments throughout the year where they want to engage to a user. So that's the baseline that we're setting here. Low revenue impact yet. We're just getting started. The next step is, all right, we've got those basic segments. We know more or less when we want to reach out to them on special dates. Now let's look actually at the user journey. So now we want to pinpoint, okay, where along the customer journey, user journey, do we actually want to engage with those users? So that's just a very simple concept. Yours might look different. Thinking about your apps also, maybe it might look different, but it might go somewhere along the lines of users onboarding. They're starting to engage, they're using your app, hopefully they're converting in some kind of way. Maybe you've got a loyalty program going on, and in the end, you might also need to reactivate them. So that's just a very basic user journey that you want to run through. Looking at onboarding, question is, what does it actually mean for a user to be onboarded? Like, what's the actual definition for an onboarded user? That could be, for example, I don't know, something like they logged in for at least 3 times in the last 30 days, just as an example. So here it's really about building those high-level segments of what is an onboarded, what is a retained and activated user, and so on. But I want to go one step further. So not only want to look into an onboarded or retained users, but I think there's more micro segments that I see our customers building. So within the retainment, for example, it could be a retained user is, I don't know, they did 5 conversions in the last 30 days. But you might also want to look at some power users in there and some hesitant users, maybe 1, 2, 3 more of those micro segments, in order to engage differently with a power user than how you're engaging with a hesitant user. So that brings us to step number 2. So we've got the baseline now. We know the main steps. We did our definitions, but that's where I see most customers struggle with. It's about the alignment across the company. So you as a CRM manager might have a way different definition of what is an onboarded user than product has, or user acquisition has, or some other team has. So in the end, you're all gonna come up with some ways to optimize, to engage with them, but in the end, you're not reaching the goal, or you're not communicating with the user in a seamless, holistic kind of way. So here the step really is, okay, like what is across our company, what is the definition for those user stages?
So
let's take it into action.
Yes, let's put that into action. Each team needs to define a user journey, define your milestones, define when are you considering a user, for example, onboarded, a user retained, a user activated, or a user is churned. And I'll need you to define what is that determines this stage for your users. And with that, we'll use that in the following exercise. So please take 2.5 minutes. Consider it, I don't know, all of those stages for you to define. Maybe you want to define what is an onboarded user, an engaged one, and converted one, loyal, and reactivated. And take 2.5 minutes to define those steps of the user journey for your app.
So it could be something like this, could be additional steps, could be less steps. Just think about, what does your user journey look like? What are the different stages?
For example, when a user is onboarded, when they buy something for the first time, when they complete a form, you need to define that for your app. This time starts
2.5 minutes. There you
now.
go.
Time is up.
All right. Good. So I hope user journey for your app. If not, it's going to be just a half. Stop and stop. Very good. So I hope you all have more user journeys defined with the different steps. We'll move on in our framework, and then we'll check in with you later. There's one more task to come, so don't forget your user journeys. All right.
So, as Lara mentioned earlier, the reason why we ask you to do this step in the exercise is to highlight the importance of having clear definitions within our own internal teams. What we see more often than not in our business is that companies use different definitions of the different stages of the user journey, and then different metrics to measure the success or the failure of a specific campaign or activation. And that brings internal confusion, that brings lack of a common goal. So you need to be totally aligned internally on what you consider a user, for example, that is onboarded, how you measure an onboarded user, what is the trigger that will trigger a campaign, and all of those factors that play a significant role in the success or the failure of your efforts.
Right. Moving up the personalization ladder, we're going to take step number 2, which is, as you can see, behavioral segmentation. So now we want to get more into our segments and actually link them with how is the user using your app. So what are the touch points there? It could be if they had 3 orders in the last 10 days, or they spent X minutes in the last month. So you really want to see, okay, like what's the behavior of your user throughout the app and how can I build further segments throughout my user base. We heard in the decathlon before, it's about the right message at the right time. I took that one, exactly.
I don't know how many times.
That's it, exactly. It's always the right message at the right time. Now I've been taking this approach a bit of, okay, let's build, I'm a visual person, so I always like to draw and have stars and all that. So let's try to build up a bit of a schedule, let's say, or a plan of how can we deliver the right message at the right time. So we talked about the user definitions. So your user journey might look something like this. We've got an onboarding, activation, retention, when are they profitable, when are they dormant. The next step we took is to define user milestones. So that's when we're going into behavioral segmentation. So what is, let's say, the starting point of onboarding? When does it start? Or maybe more important, when do we think a user gets into the dormant section, into the dormant segment, and what is the milestone there? Once we have defined those, that's when we can start messaging and sending out communications. So we know where the user is, we know when the user gets into that stage, so we know when we can communicate to them. Real life experience, from what I've seen working together with a lot of customers, is they buy a CRM tool and they just start sending out pushes. Like, yeah, cool, we've got this, let's send out pushes. It works. Yes, it works, but you're not going to see the revenue impact that you're expecting. Why is that? And then I also say, okay, as well, it takes some preparation. Like, you need to be clear about what you're doing before you're actually sending out those push messages. So that's, I think, like the task that I'm trying to show you here. Let's take it into action.
Yes. So the last step of the exercise is to basically define a specific step of a user journey for your company. Define a milestone. So, for example, we can use onboarding. What is the trigger that makes a user for your app considered onboarded? And then create a campaign for those users. So let's say we're using the onboarding again. Your user milestone could be filling out a form, and the campaign could be an email or a push notification or an in-app, whatever. So you will define it, and you will let us know about what campaigns have you chosen. You have 2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes.
Starting
Come up with an onboarding, an activation campaign, whatever you feel like is most important for your apps. Here we go.
Times. I hope you have your campaigns ready.
Okay. I think let's just get started with the group that's most discussing. The said beers. Tell us about your campaigns.
Which step of the journey have you chosen? How do you define what's your milestone, and also what's your campaign?
Okay, so then we have to take one, because we had 2 ideas, 2 approaches. Either that it's a app who fosters beer drinking, and you can collect like virtual stamps or so on and get a beer sommelier, or an app which prevents you from drinking and you gain levels if you stay sober. So are you not a set beer drinker? But for now, as we have to for this campaign, of course, we have to concentrate on one of those scenarios. So if we concentrate on the beer, collect digital stamps for different beers trunk campaigns. It should be later in the journey, because we have to know things about the user. You have to drink different beers, so it would be in the retention phase, I guess. So when he or she frequently uses the app. Yeah, and then we would play out in-app or via push messages. To be honest, we didn't came that far. But play out suggestions for, hey, one kind of beer of IPA, a specific one is missing, so that you reach this level of beer sommelier. So go to that bar or go to that store, buy this beer. Yeah, maybe tell us how you liked it, and then you reach this super beer sommelier level.
Thank you.
So, thank you. So I guess we're getting in somewhere we said like reactivation, retention, loyalty program. So you have like we got a little passport at the beginning of the APS. maybe something in that direction, and then just to throw in like some geofencing. So if they come by a bar and they're missing this beer, a little push, there you go, have a Hefeweizen. All right, good. Sad to happy beers. Love it. Group number 1.
Lobster is sport.
The luxury guys.
So we focusing on activation because as we were like luxury experiences, I think we just made the assumption that most people are going to be browsing, want to be ready to purchase something, when they're there. So we're looking at triggering. Through our onboarding, we were capturing some kind of preferred activities or destinations from the user. We can then use that to target them after they abandon. So like after a few days, we can send them an email or push or in-app if they're still in the app with some kind of incentive or deal that matches the preferences they picked in onboarding to try and get them towards their first purchase.
Great. So it's kind of like onboarding, activating. How do we get them started? Luxuries. This might be a bit difficult, so we need to get them in there, get them to spend the money. Here's number 2. The cheesy trees.
All right, just as a reminder, we have an app for an exhibition where you can look at cheese in the form of palm trees. So we obviously use geolocation to understand where the customer is, so we can give them the right information about what cheese he's looking at. And we decided once the customer finished the exhibition and has now all this knowledge, we offer them, so that's our trigger, and we offer them to buy a cheese to take it home. And
museum shop.
Exactly. I mean, you can order it via the app and then you just go and pick it up. And once we know the transaction was done and the customer has taken some cheese home, after 2 or 3 days where we expect the customer has already tried the cheese and is absolutely in love, we also offer them a cheese subscription.
Great. You should come to Amsterdam. I'm sure it's going to work. For sure. Good.
So
Group
happy
number
wines, I
3.
think.
No, that's the vacation flowers.
Oh, the vacation flower. Who gonna take? Responsibility.
Ownership problem.
It's a flat hierarchy.
All right, hello, it's me then. So our idea was that first, so this is a flower app, and it's somehow like you go to a new country and you're trying to collect the flowers that are common in here. So for example, I go to Thailand and I'm trying to collect the most popular 5 flowers there. So I have an anxiety about giving presentations. Anyways. So the onboarding for this would be probably that you're taken 2-3 flowers and added it to your garden in the app. And I would say then I'm not good with microphones.
The activation.
I would give the microphone at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a group.
No, I think you did great. I think for us, the biggest challenge is that it's a vacation app, right? So we're not even sure when people are joining because people don't go to vacation every day. So we want to create a habit. So we want to have people using the app more often. So we also would extend it not only for vacation plans, but also for your plans at home. And you could collect, for example, badges if you have as many plans. Potentially we have a community feature as well, like people can rate your plans. So, there are multiple options that we have, and you could collect flower power essentially to rank up, and this could be the incentive in the end.
So it's an activation community kind of idea.
I see some gamification as well. Nice.
Yeah, there we go.
So
Last group.
I think no, happy wine and then sad beer.
Yeah, I can see it here.
Yes.
I made the number 1.
Oh, correct. So last group. Happy wine. You want to take responsibility? Awesome.
So as an onboarding, we decided to first ask some customer questions, like what is the therapy about and what do they prefer in wine, like do they like white wine, red wine. So we get a bit of information. Then we offer them a trial. So we say 30 minutes instead of 50 minutes for the session, and you get, you get to choose one wine. As activation, we thought, okay, just before the trial, we tell them, hey, your trial is upcoming. Because it's your first time, you can choose out of 3 wines instead of 1, and we offer you 1 or 2 during that session, and hopefully they get excited about this. And then as a follow-up, of course, we hope that they will get a subscription. They can choose between 1 month or 2 months. We said 6 months a year because some people might be therapy for a year already. And why for a year? And then retention would be if the customer returns in a way that they have 1 therapy session a month, choosing 1 wine with that from our.
Okay, all right. So it's an onboarding, and we're already thinking freemium to premium.
We
How
also
do we convert them?
We thought about Christmas campaigns, and we thought the cheesy palm trees would be a very nice addition. So maybe.
Yeah, I see a partnership coming up here. Cool, thank you. Amazing. So not only do we have some more apps, you already thought about your first campaign. Congratulations. Now let's keep on climbing. Now we're going to talk about personalization. So you see, it is quite some work to draw the baseline. Like we really need to think about what's our user, what's the user journey, what's the data, what's the definitions. Now let's get into personalizations. Getting back to our letter, so I said like we built the base here. We've got the basic demographic segmentation, we've got the basic schedule delivery, we added behavioral segmentation. Now we get to stage number 3. What we believe is important about stage number 3 is, first of all, the behavior triggered delivery. So not only do we want to segment users on they spent X minutes in the app in the last 30 days, and as soon as a user does so, they fall into the segment, and that's when we start the certain communication. But it's really about right message, right time. I'm going to pick it out a few times. We look at, okay, what is a specific event? And at this moment of time, that's when we want to reach out to the user. So it could be if they proceed to a certain level, or if they click at a certain offer, or if they don't click at a certain offer within a time. So it's really this, okay, like we're triggering at the moment that the user is engaged with the app. That's one part. The other one is the in-app messaging. So here it's about not only about the outside of the app communication, so you might want to send some pushes or email to get users back into the app, reactivate them, but it's also about thinking about the in-app experiences and how can I leverage in-app messages, for example, to really create this holistic view of my app. So how and when do I need to communicate to my users in order to make them go to the next step within my app? So taking in-apps really as part of your app DNA, if you want to say like that. So going back to our plan, we have the definitions, the milestones, the messaging engagement. Now we're going to add campaigns. So we really want to think about an omni-channel experiences outside the app, but also the inside app experience. So really build out this whole campaign. For example, for the onboarding, you might want to send them, they log in the first time an in-app, 2 days later we follow up with an email and so on. So it's a whole campaign that we're building. Plus, and that's the in-app experiences part, so we also want to have some engagement inside of the app. That could be a pop-up, there could be a banner, there could be a native display, so it really feels like it's part of your app. It could be like a carousel moving through, but it's really giving you this in-app experience. So that's why I put down as like a whole plan of, okay, like how do you catch a user at the right time with the right message? Last and final step of our personalization letter, that's where we get to content personalization. So now we have all the spaces, we've got the behavior trigger delivery, we thought of the inner experience as well. Now is when we think of how can we personalize the content. Again, the real life experience, again, a lot of customers sometimes come to me and they're like, all right, I'm sending out pushes and I'm using the first name. I do personalization, but I still don't see the revenue impact. I'm like, okay. Well, again, it's really about this, you need to take those steps. So having the first name in the push is great, don't get me wrong, I think it's a good first step and it makes it more relevant, more personalized. But you need to think of when do you reach out to a user? How do you reach out to them? And what stage are they? And what do you actually want to achieve? And what's the definition of this step that you're at? And then you can start with the content personalization. So here then you can go wild. Like it starts with the first name, you can get something from their user journey so that they click at a certain product. Maybe you want to mention that again, keyword cart abandonment. It could be that you're getting, I don't know, some recommendations that you want to give them. Something is out of stock or has been out of stock and is back in, and you want to personalize a message for that user because they looked for it. So I think when it comes to content personalization, there's a lot of ways, but the key message I want to give you is there's steps before. So you need to understand where you're at, who's your user, and then you can personalize. Going back to hyper-personalization, I think we're also at time. Hyper-personalization, I think to put it in a nutshell, it's not easy, it's hard. It's super hard. Like you saw it now in those 40 minutes, I want to tell you about personalization. I just spent the last few minutes talking about it because I think the key here is the preparation. That's how you get to the hyper personalization stage that we all want to get to. So, but it's about knowing your customer. Who are they? Where are they from? What do they like? How do they behave? It's about integrating technology. We're living in a world where we've got a lot of tools. We're here at APS. You see all those great tools. So they are there. We've got AI, we've got ChatGPT that takes away part of the thinking process. But what I see is it's about the input. So what do you put into it? How did you structure that input in order to get the right output out? Because if you just put something in, just be like, yeah, first name, I'm going to use that. Then you're also just going to get a first name with a push that's going to be sent at the wrong time to the wrong users. That's about really defining, organizing, assembling, getting your input in the right shape and form to get the right output with the help of technology. Scaling in real time. It's all about the context. What channel are you using? How are they moving along in your app? Are you getting more or less users? So also adapting that when it comes to personalization. And then last but not least, proactive engagement. I'm talking to customers, you're talking to your users, and I think the worst is if you as an end user, you're missing something and you have to wait for it or even ask for it, and then only you get it. I think it's about being proactive. So you need to understand before the user actually wants that to give them that piece of information. Right, so I think don't reach for the moon today. We set the first stone, or first stone. Take it step by step. Take your time, do your preparations in order to get to high personalization. So coming back to our personalization letter, last step. So I think it's really about, as I getting the base, and then it's those two last advanced steps. That's where we see what the message is sent from our platform. That's where the real revenue impact comes in. So that's where you really get this 3x of revenue improvement. If you do everything right in the beginning, then that's where you're gonna get your success from.
Thank you, everybody. I think it was a useful session. For those who don't know, we are from CleverTap. CleverTap is an intention and engagement platform. We are in the business of apps, offering you a solution that you can insert data, you can build your segments, you can see what your users are doing and not doing inside your app, and then run the campaigns and measure the success of those. If you want more information about how we approach the engagement and retention game, we are at booth number 6 downstairs, and we are more than happy to discuss with you more about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.